the Down supporters to give them every support. And it's going to be a very, very interesting game, one I'm really looking forward to, and I'm sure that everybody around the country will really as well.
Meath's Jerry McEntee comes out as part of the Meath team, which is led out by Liam Hayes from screen. The final leg of an exhausting but nerve-tingling odyssey, the 10th game, the longest route possible to claim the Sam Maguire. And here on the canal end, the Meath fans have taken up station. June the 2nd seems a long time ago. Then it was Dublin, followed by Dublin. Then Dublin once more, and in July it was still Dublin. But Wicklow, Offaly, Laois and Roscommon have all fallen by the wayside against one of the game's most resilient powers. Kevin Foley there taking up his position on the right-hand side of the bench in front. Bernard Flynn in alongside, and as always the team captain Liam Hayes stands at the back of the team photograph. He never goes down into the centre, the customary position for the team captain. They're in the happy position of having a clean bill of health, so they nominate the same team as that which started against Kerry. Eamon Burns, replaced in that match by Liam Austin, is once again in midfield alongside Barry Breen, while in attack full forward Peter Whitnell has recovered from the foot injury incurred at work and takes his usual place alongside Mickey Linden and James McCartan. Down with some formidable players in reserve. Liam Austin we've already mentioned, and Ambrose Rogers as well, probably first choice for midfield and the forwards respectively, the two of them. Now the Colm O'Rourke forced to sit out the start of the match because of a virus, so Jerry McEntee makes a 48th championship appearance. He comes into midfield with PJ Gillick moving into the forwards, but whether that's, as you see there, at corner forward, or whether he'll move out onto the 40, as I might expect, well, we'll just have to wait and see. But Jack O'Shea, the loss of Colm O'Rourke, it's a very considerable loss. He's been such a major influence in all matches.
Yes, Joe, I think Colm O'Rourke is going to be a fierce loss to Meath, but sometimes a loss of a player of his stature can be a great inspiration to the other players. And I know that when we won the 4 in a row All-Irelands back early 70s, early 80s, that we were missing one of our top forwards in each game. And I think this gave us the score early on. I think once you lose the player the day or so before, and it prepares everybody, and I think nobody's really taken by surprise. I think it would have been a bigger shock if he had to cry off in the dressing room. So at some stage in the game, though, I think Meath might pull this man out of the
I certainly expect to see him, and then he would be making his 51st championship appearance. That would be equaling the record of Peter McDermott in Meath. He picked up a nasty cold about 10 days ago at the end of a late night session training, and it's a cold that he just couldn't remove, and of course he had a bout of tonsillitis as well, but that's never kept him out in the past. Bernard Flynn there in the background always also, and PJ Gillick, the number 9, he'll have a major role to play now, because in the absence of their tall centre forward or corner forward, remember he really was outstanding against Keith Barlow. With a quick answer, he was outstanding against Keith Barlow. With a quick answer, you'll have to ask Jack O'Shea.
Well, James came back with the answer that he didn't feel any pressure. I think, as I said, James is a very, very cocky player. I was very taken by his interest and his total commitment to the game, being so young. But I think that he's probably his father before him. He's trying to eliminate his feats, and he's looking forward to this occasion, I'm sure.
A proud moment that for the teachers at St Patrick's Grammar School in Downpatrick. They supply 4 ex-pupils to the team. 2 more in the subs. Goalkeeper Neil Collins, full-back Conor Deegan, and wing-back John Kelly, midfielder Barry Breen as well. Now Liam Hayes meeting President Robinson, and ready to introduce first of all Mickey McQuillan, the team goalkeeper. Of their previous 9 championship matches, only 3 players have been on the field for every minute of every game, and they are goalkeeper Mickey McQuillan, forwards David Beggy and Brian Stafford. evidently the flag sellers up in County Down must have been doing a roaring trade in the last couple of weeks. I was up there last week and there was really a tremendous buzz all over the county, and in Meath as well, of course. They look forward so much to coming here to Croke Park. It's very much a second home for these Meath fans, for the Meath players, and that's the man from Drummondess. That's the Destroyer is his name. Meath and old Mick, he will tame. Peter Whitnell they're talking about. Well, it's a big occasion, Jack, for people like Peter Whitnell, very new to championship football, and so much expected of him against one of the wiliest old campaigners in the business, Mick Lyons.
Yeah, Mick Lyons, everybody this year was feeling that Mick Lyons was slipping a bit, but he hasn't been form-watching all year, and as the games have gone on, Mick Lyons has improved and improved. Peter Whitnell, on the other hand, hadn't a very impressive Ulster Championship, but when he came to Croke Park in the semi-final, he taught us a thing or two about scoring goals. So I think Peter Whitnell seems to have taken a bit of the load off Mickey Lennon and James McCartney on the full forward line, which means there's 3 danger men on the full forward line today, and I'm sure that Meath have their ways of curbing these fellas, and it'll be quite interesting to see who picks up who, I think, once the game starts, because I feel that you might see a few positional switches here and there just before the ball is thrown in.
One of the statistics not seen across the screen right now is that Meath won the toss and they opt to play from left to right in the first half. There's a light, gentle breeze blowing into their faces for the first half. Meath this afternoon seeking a 6th All-Ireland victory, down seeking a 4th, and of course they have that unique record of never having lost an All-Ireland final. Brian Stafford and company then trying to make amends for last year, and Brian once again having a fine campaign. Jerry McEntee's always said that he much prefers to come in from the start of the match rather than be introduced as something of a super sub round about half-time, and he's delighted to get the chance to be in there in the middle of the field once more. And it seems as though John Kelly has been switched in on top of Tommy Dowd, and Paddy O'Rourke has moved out to the right of the half-back line right at the start, and he's picking up Colm Coyle, and PJ Gillick is starting in at right corner forward. From Clonmel in County Tipperary with the Artane Boys Band and our national anthem. So, the moment has finally arrived, the climax of the football year. Just to recap very quickly on the team news for you, Down, of course, happily unchanged, and very much looking forward to players like Greg Blaney, Mickey Linden and James McCartan, who have the craft, but will they get the latitude this afternoon? Meath having made the one enforced change with Colm O'Rourke out. That's the change, and Gillick is in there right corner forward. So Seamus Pryor just checking with the umpires and linesmen that everybody is in position. The 104th All-Ireland football final is underway, and it is straight away Barry Breen going back for Down, who played from right to left in the first half. Switching it in, James McCartan getting onto it fast. Trying to send the ball inside towards Greg Blaney. Mick Lyons making the first clearance. Out to Jerry McEntee, who takes up a good position. Terry Ferguson. well away from his left corner back position. The marking arrangements for Meath at the back will be interesting as Beggy plays it across towards Coyle, who had to stretch out for that one. Stafford up towards Bernard Flynn. Meath coming looking for the first point. They've won the first free kick. Eamon Burns, the one who commits the foul. And David Beggy and co have the chance here to go in front. At the back, it's Brendan Riley who's marking James McCartan. It was Kevin Foley last year in the league final. And Terry Ferguson is across left corner back. He's on Mickey Linden. So it's as they were selected. Ryan Stafford, who scored 9 points in the semi-final. That's the first of the afternoon. Always looks most relaxed and absolutely deadly from frees. Possession in midfield for Jerry McEntee. He's fouled, bottled up there once again by Eamon Burns. In towards Liam Hayes. Burns trying to get back. Bernard Flynn against Brendan McKernan. Still Flynn coming looking for the second point. And Burns getting after it. That's a very good start by Meath, imposing their will upon the down backs who are being very slow to settle.
That all came there from Jerry McEntee winning the ball in the middle of the field. The down player was penalised and the ball was brought forward. He took a quick free to Bernard Flynn, who shook off some very good tackles and kicked a very good point for Meath. A very good start for Meath so far in this game.
Down winning themselves the free in midfield. Up it goes into the corner towards James McCartan, who's made a quick switch across there. Brendan Riley went across and the referee just warning him about the tackle. The free is going to be taken by Ross Carr. Down start of the Ulster campaign virtually without a free taker, and they nominated Ross Carr and he really has been a revelation. So will this be the opening score for the Ulster champions? Falls short to Mickey McCullen. It's Harnan against Blaney. The line ball will be kicked in by Gary Mason. A huge one from Gary Mason, but tailing well to the left. Normally a terrifically assured free kick taker. There used to be a penalty competition up and down for youngsters up to minor level, and he won that competition every year. Absolutely deadly from penalties, but he would be unlikely to take a penalty this afternoon. That would probably be Mickey Linden's responsibility, though he did miss one in the semi-final. Mickey McCullen's kick right into the middle. Mopped up here well by Paddy O'Rourke, the team captain. Across towards James McCartan, who once again has switched back in there. Trying to make his presence felt. That's a high challenge for Brendan Riley. And the referee is speaking, I think, for the wrong player. Brendan Riley was the player who put in the challenge that time, and the foul. The referee had a very quick word with Liam Harnan.
Yeah, James McCartan here is causing a lot of problems for the Meath full-backs, and Liam Harnan, very high tackle there, and very good lucky, I think, to get away without a booking on that occasion.
The referee was absolutely spot on. It was Liam Harnan. So it's knocked over by Gary Mason, and Down got their first point in this All-Ireland final. McCullen here never looks fussy when making a save, always very secure and never unduly spectacular. This young Down fan, I think, will remember his day out at Croke Park. Oh, a huge leap in the air by Ross Carr, taking it with some difficulty against Martin O'Connell. He's given it away to Jerry McEntee. Blocked down by Greg Blaney, taken now by Liam Harnan. Fed forward towards Bernard Flynn, who's taken up a aerobic commission early on. Arnon once again stepping into the breach. Another foul. Meath's third free kick. Got deep toward PJ Gillick, but it's fetched in there splendidly somehow by the fullback Conor Deegan. Has the presence of mind to link up with his goalkeeper Neil Collins. He's given it away to Liam Hayes, coming racing through the centre. In towards David Beggy on the edge of the small square. Fed back towards Brian Stafford. There's a man loose, that was Bernard Flynn, but he couldn't get it to him. Instead he's put it wide. Meath's first wide of the match. Down with one wide as well. That from the free kick by Gary Mason earlier on. Well, there was a real goal chance on there, Jack.
Yeah, a bit of a mix-up there in the down defence, but it was still good down defensive play once David Beggy missed. He had a good chance here to take the shot at goal. Maybe probably should have fisted the ball over the bar, but again took the right option here, gave the ball back out to Brian Stafford. Paul Higgins, all the down defence closing him down well, and pardon is really by Brian there.
It's going to be a free kick. Jerry McEntee made a fine catch, but the referee decided he was up on somebody's shoulder to gain an advantage. It's with Gary Mason of Down. Down trailing by a point, 2 points to 1. Ross Carr trying to steal inside. Colm Coyle not prepared to yield an inch. Likewise Martin O'Connell. Free quickly taken towards Mickey Linden. Missed it completely. Terry Ferguson has the chance to go back. Now Jerry McEntee taking up some very, very interesting positions. Mick Lyons punting this one out towards Tommy Dowd. A fine secure catch against John Kelly. Kelly commits the foul. Referee perfectly positioned. John Kelly, who's the vice-captain of this Down team, made his debut in the league against Laois back in 1986. On and takes the free. Taken down nicely. Burns. Brendan Riley going out first time to get it, and it's James McCartan has got there. The referee says play on, or does he? No, he's whistled back to play for the foul by Mick Lyons. The referee seemed to have allowed an advantage initially. And Mick Lyons has been around for quite a while. Made his debut back in 1976 in the Championship against Kilkenny. So here's a chance to tie up the match. With 8 minutes gone in the first half, Gary Mason 2 points in the semi-final, one already this afternoon. Deadly accurate. 2 points for Meath, 2 points for Down. Well, having looked a little bit nervous earlier on in defence, they've now settled down completely, Down. He is jumping in midfield, trying to fetch it there against Eamon Burns. Kevin Foley, and the referee with the whistle at sound, giving the free to Meath. Martin O'Connell dropped in. Gillick touches it down to Stafford, and the old 1-2, and Stafford gets his second point of the afternoon to restore Meath's advantage. Well, he always is waiting around there, waiting for the break of the ball. That was touched down splendidly, and Stafford did the rest.
Yeah, that was a great point by Brian Stafford, because he had pulled Conor Deegan before that free kick was pulled out to the right-hand side. Conor Deegan was caught out there, and Stafford was in under the breaking ball. A very good point for Meath.
Fisted down again, this time by Liam Hayes. DJ Kane waiting for it. Challenged by David Beggy. Aimlessly booted forward, and Peter Whitnell unable to contain the pass. Matty McCabe there standing in the middle of the substitutes out here at the front of the subs bench. It's all terribly easy to get a decent view of the match if you happen to be sitting down in the second row of that subs bench. It's a great catch by Brendan McKernan. Mickey Linden unable to hold it. It's run on decently for Whitnell. Whitnell against Liam Harnan. Referee says play on. Still Whitnell. A strong competitive player. And in the end, it's going to be a free out. Peter Whitnell looks like he's going to have quite a battle this afternoon against Mick Lyons. Once the game settles down, Jack, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of service the inside forward line of Down in particular get.
Yeah, Ger, there, Conor Deegan, that all stem from him. He gave a very poor ball. He won the ball well in defence, but he booted the ball out over the sideline. I think Down should be looking to get the ball in low to these forwards, because at the moment they have the legs, James McCartan especially. If they get the ball in low, they can work a few scores early on.
Colm Coyle shipping it up towards Tommy Dow. Watched it all the way. That's a great catch. A lovely piece of fielding. Fine skill as he runs through the centre of the Down defence. They try to get in a decent challenge. It's Flynn, and in the end it's brilliantly blocked down, and Flynn is fouled, it seemed to me, by Conor Deegan after he played that one away. I'm not sure if the referee spotted it, but the umpire in any case has run out to raise the right arm, signalling that it's going to be a 45. So Brian Stafford has come right out from full forward to take the 45 metres kick, the first in the match. Going towards the right.
I think, Ger, if Colm O'Rourke had been around, you might have seen Brian dropping that ball into the square. Again, I think he was forced into taking the shot there. But I think that Meath at this stage might be better to pull PJ Gillig out from the corner, because the Meath forwards of Bernard Flynn and Tommy Dowd have run into good positions, but they seem to be blocked up when they get in.
Jerry McIntyre trying to force that one forward, likewise Tommy Dowd. And the referee goes across and says he didn't like the nature of that pass forward by Tommy Dowd. He saw it as a foul. So a free kick for Down, and it's going to be Paul Higgins who'll come across to take it. Player who grabs really hard and limits his opponent's openings. Brendan Riley under this one. Put under pressure as Mick Lyons was coming across as well, and it's James McCartan who feeds it inside. McQuillan comes out to make the save there with Mickey Linden breathing down his neck. Jerry McEntee once again back around the full back position to take the loose ball out. All a bit frantic and frenetic. David Beggy, the sideline kicker. Paul Higgins watching it. Mickey Linden coming out for this one. Secure catch, and then he takes the high one to the face from Kevin Foley, I think. Gary Mason plays it down. Greg Blaney coming in, gets by the hard challenge. And the referee whistles and signals that it's going to be a free. But all this while, Mickey Linden is down injured, having made a good secure catch. I think he got an elbow in the face. There was the Telecom Éireann man of the match. And I think they're very concerned about it. He made a really good catch that time, and then I think the elbow of one of the Meath backs, if I had to say who it was, I think it might have been Kevin Foley.
Yes, sure, I think Kevin Foley was the one. I think Mickey had won the ball, and Kevin Foley going by him seemed to hit him into the face. And Mickey seems to be in a bit of trouble here, and what a pity it would be if there was anything seriously wrong with him. Yeah, here we see the incident.
Well, I think that was what happened afterwards. Thankfully, Mickey Linden's back on his feet once again. Pete McGrath. And the team doctor, John Gribben, going in there just to make sure that Mickey's okay. Looks a bit dazed still. Paddy O'Rourke, the team captain, having a word with him.
Yeah, here we see Mickey Linden getting the ball, but here you see Kevin, oh, very high tackle there. Few of the Meath players have got away with a few high tackles so far, and lucky to get away with those.
So it's going to be a free kick, and Gary Mason has the chance to level up the match. He's Down's only scorer so far. It's 3 points each. Just over 15 minutes gone in the first half. Well judged over there. Paddy O'Rourke back to John Kelly. Eamon Burns dropping it in. Peter Whitnell trying to get onto it. Liam Harnan instead for Meath. Up to Liam Hayes. Fisted away splendidly by Eamon Burns. Reaches Jerry McEntee. Brendan Riley now trying to take it round Gary Mason. Challenged by Ross Carr. Or by Barry Breen, I should say. So Meath will be taking the free from just inside the near sideline. Jerry McEntee, I think, wanting a bit of movement off the ball. Gillick sees that one fisted away by Paul Higgins. It comes down to Colin Coyle. Hit it first time. Not great length, but very high. Paddy O'Rourke again under trouble. Martin O'Connell now coming raiding for Meath. Across to Tommy Dow. They try to close him down, but he still gets in his kick very truly, but it's stopped by Neil Collins on the line. Shades of a great save he made in one of the Ulster matches when Down were very near to being eliminated. I think it was against Derry. He made a great save when the ball seemed to be going over the bar, and Down came downfield and got a point. Breen up towards Whitnell. It's stopped by Mick Lyons. Striving to impose his will on this game, Mick Lyons. Doing well so far against Peter Whitnell. Hasn't got very much attitude. David Beggy. Breen, the one who's coming in to make a challenge. Cross towards Brian Stafford. Outmarked, however. And it's Burns that chips it away towards Gary Mason. Kevin Foley there too for Meath. Now Tommy Dowd. Looking up, spotted that... the corner forward, Bernard Flynn, had made a run across. A good passage of play by Meath. Liam Hayes kicking very truly, and the team captain has put it over the bar, and Meath go back in front again. Hayes' first point of the game. Well, they really exposed great gaps that time, Jack.
Yeah, there was some very bad defensive play there by Down. They were finding it very, very difficult to get the ball out the field. But very good play on Meath's behalf. Tommy Dowd switched the ball one wing to the other to Bernard Flynn, and he gave the ball into Liam Hayes, who sidestepped his marker and kicked a very good point for Meath.
It's Burns breaking free again for Down. Well, every time Meath have gone in front, Down have been able to come back and get a levelling up score. But the referee has a word with Liam Hayes. So Ross Carr. Deep intake of breath. Just outside the 45-metre line. It's good. It's very good. It's gone over the bar. Ross Carr's first point. And as before, the sides are level. One of the few, really, Ross Carr to convert successfully from the backs up to the forwards. Hit 9 points against Derry in the replayed Ulster semi-final. Today playing in his 17th championship match. Gary Mason waiting for the break of the ball, and very suitably it came his way. Peter Whitnell again there. Liam Hayes trying to get it loose. Now Ross Carr, pursued by Martin O'Connell and Colin Coyle. O'Rourke inside to Greg Blaney. Nicely fed forward to Eamon Burns. And Down go in front for the first time in the match. They were behind by 2 points initially, came back, and then they've swapped points with Meath ever since, but this is the first time they've gone in front. And Mick Lyons is down with an injury that's going to require attention. Dr. Jack Finn, the team's medical officer, coming in to give attention to Mick Lyons.
Yeah, that was a great score for Down. Here we see Paddy O'Rourke picking the ball up, taking his time and picking out his man. Greg Blaney here, see how experience told here, held the ball up beautifully for Eamon Burns coming through, and a very, very good score.
So Mick Lyons in the wars, in need of attention. We were talking about Peter Whitnell, Jack, before the start of this match, and how central he might be to the outcome of the game. But Greg Blaney has a major role to play as well, I would suggest.
Yeah, Greg Blaney is the man who's supposed to give leadership to the down attack. He's a very, very experienced player. Peter Whitnell at the moment seems to be not getting the ball into his possession. He seems to be thinking what he's going to do next before he's actually in possession. And Mick Lyons is doing a very, very good job of him so far.
Hayes and Burns competing in midfield. Likewise Barry Breen. Breen against David Beggy. Takes a round Jinxie, but there's a foul and Down have the free kick. The referee has moved it forward. Lyons and Foley going for it back there, and it's Mick Lyons who makes it his. James McCartan trying to put in a telling challenge. Reaches Jerry McEntee. He's fetching a lot of ball, Jerry McEntee. And Harnan will be the one who will take the free. The referee wants it moved back a few yards. Hayes competing with Burns. Beggy. Man free outside him on his right-hand side, one on his left as well as Gillick. Coyle. Steadying himself for the shot, but it falls short into the arms of Conor Deegan. Deegan out towards Greg Blaney, there against Liam Harnan, breaks down to Colm Coyle. Meath so good at waiting for the breaking ball and expecting it to come their way. O'Connell. Stafford. It's a Meath side working very, very hard for all their scores this afternoon. Under some pressure. It comes down off the post. Back down to the secure hands of DJ Kane. Now John Kelly. Plenty of altitude. Harnan. Probably have too much time to watch that one. It's going to be a free for Down. Greg Blaney wants to take it quickly. Across towards Mickey Linden. Trying to get inside Terry Ferguson. It's with Whitnell. Lyons standing back from him, now putting in the challenge. It reaches James McCartan, and Down leads by 2 points. Well, he's looked the liveliest so far of the inside forward line. He looks as though he could do an awful lot if he gets the right kind of ball. He's got his first point of the afternoon. Liam Harnan, who was injured last year and didn't play in last year's final against Cork, is down injured. He hasn't had a long standing back injury. And he's done well indeed to continue to compete at the highest level, as he's been trying to shake off the effects of that back injury. Once again, the doctor, Jack Finn, is in, and Burton, the physio, likewise.
Harnan going back, taking the ball, a heavy clash there, and Liam seems to be up in the field. Liam playing quite a good game today. I think it's his best game so far this year. He's settling down well. He's doing a very good job on Greg Blaney.
Seemed to be Peter Whitnell who collided with it from that time.
Yeah, I think it's Peter Whitnell, but I think the down full forward line are very, very dangerous, and I feel that if the down half forward line could come and support these fellas quick once they get possession, that a lot of scores could come off them.
So it's Down who lead in the All-Ireland final by 6 points to 4. A fine catch by Jerry McEntee. Up towards Brian Stafford, but well over his shoulder. And in the end, it becomes a kick out for Down. Meath with 3 wide so far, Down with just 1. And we've had 20 free kicks in all. Down with 11 of them. Some holding by Liam Hayes on Eamon Burns. And once again for dissent, the referee brings the ball forward 13 metres. It's taken by Ross Carr to Mickey Linden. Greg Blaney trying to come up in support. Carr likewise, it reaches Peter Whitnell. He gives it to Gary Mason under some pressure. In it goes, touchdown to Greg Blaney. High shoulder again by Greg Blaney, by Kevin Foley. And it's going to be a free from 13 metres, right in front of the posts, and there should now be 3 points between the teams. Foley the one who committed the indiscretion.
Yes, Joe, I think this is where when the Meath defence are under pressure in the full back line, they're trying to contest every ball, and this is where the down half out line can come in and pick up crucial balls, like that one there where Greg Blaney picked it up.
So Ross Carr will be kicking to make it 7 points to 4. This is a spell of the match which the Down fans are thoroughly enjoying. Flags flying proudly up on Hill 16.
Yeah, we see this ball here. The two Mick Lyons and Liam Hanlon have to contest the ball, and Greg Blaney gets a good breakdown. Again, high challenge by Kevin Foley. A few of these Meath defenders, I think, will have to be careful because the referee will start booking them sooner or later.
A switch in defence, which we have to note. It's James McCartan now being marked by Kevin Foley, and Brendan Riley here challenging Gary Mason. He's his new opponent. Now Mickey Linden, who's got some great pace. Nice control as well. It's blocked down by Terry Ferguson. A sideline ball to Down. Out in the middle of the field, there's a Down player down injured. And that looks like Ross Carr. Ross Carr or Barry Breen. Meanwhile, the ball is kicked in, and it's kicked wide. The referee had not noted that the player was down injured in the centre of the field.
As I was saying earlier on, Jerry, see PJ Gillick now has come out the field, around the centre of the field, and leaving a little bit more room inside in the Meath full forward line. And here you'll see the Meath players trying to get the ball in quickly to Flynn and Stafford and create the openings in front of goal.
Ross is okay. PJ Gillick has also started to come much deeper in towards a centre forward role, and Tommy Dowd has switched into the corner. Here is Tommy Dowd, contesting possession here with John Kelly. Fouled by John Kelly, and he collided with the sideline flag here as well. Could have been a nasty little injury, that. Hopefully he's okay. Stafford to Gillick. Fine shoulder by John Kelly. Good shoulder to shoulder. The Down fans very pleased with that challenge because it has given them possession once more, and Conor Deegan from Downpatrick ready to take the sideline ball. He was the centre half back for the Down team, victorious in the 87 All-Ireland minor final against Cork. Mick Lyons sees it come back to Greg Blaney, pulled to ground. Linesman stepping in quickly. Blaney will be anxious to take the free kick himself. Barry Breen has gone up there in support, but he was pushing, and it's going to be a free out for Meath. Just about 5.5 minutes to go to half-time. Great roars of encouragement all around Croke Park for both teams. Down the leaders at the moment by 7 points to 4. Jerry McEntee with a secure catch. Runs kindly on for Brendan Riley. Stafford now. Taking a quick look up. Punting it forward for Bernard Flynn, who comes across, makes a good diagonal run. Brendan McKernan, his marker. And he's got by him, but he trips him, and it's a 13-metre free. Referee having a quick word with him. So here's a chance to cut back the deficit for Brian Stafford. He's hit it low. Collins. I'm sure he was going for a point that time. He's within 2 points of scoring 200 points in all in championship matches for Meath. And here's a high challenge by Liam Hayes, and the notebook is out. The referee's patience was wearing a bit thin, and in the end Hayes becomes the first one to have his name recorded by Seamus Pryor.
Yeah, I think sooner or later Seamus Pryor was going to take a bit of action here. Here we see Brendan McKeon getting the ball, and Liam Hayes coming in very, very high. I didn't think Liam's tackle was actually as dirty as one of the two tackles beforehand, but again, sooner or later the referee's going to stamp his mark in this game, and this can't be allowed.
John Kelly there wasn't too happy with something that Bernard Flynn just did. Paul Higgins kicking deep. Fine fetch in there, and it's Jerry McEntee again, playing his heart out for Meath, trying to make up for the loss of Colm O'Rourke, and he wins another 13-metre advantage. It used to be 10. Stafford now inside towards PJ Gillick. Stafford with his left foot. Neil Collins watched it. Jerry McEntee touches it down, but there's a Meath man there, a down man waiting for it. That's Conor Deegan. Whitnell chasing with Mick Lyons. James McCartan trying to put in a challenge, and in the end the referee has given Meath the free out. We'll judge by his demeanour that he's not too pleased. Still very displeased with that decision, feeling that the ball was picked off the ground, I think. Brendan Riley, meanwhile. Liam Hayes reaching up, happy to see PJ Gillick, who was programmed at midfield, but because of Colm O'Rourke's absence has played elsewhere. Coming in to take that one. Riley once more. Many frees now in this match. A total of 31 so far. And we're just inside 2 minutes to go to half-time. Conor Deegan, Coyle. Nice control play by the down man. Burns, belting it forward. Comes off the chest of Kevin Foley. Greg Blaney going forward with purpose. McCartan has a player outside him if he wants to give it to him. That was Ross Carr. And the referee has whistled, and it's a free to down. Ross Carr got the ball, hit it in, but in any case it's going to be a free.
James McCartan, he gets the ball, he seems to put a lot of panic into the Meath defence, but there I think a frontal charge okay by Liam Harman into the chest of James McCartan as he was going through.
Sean Boylan and Colm O'Rourke. You wonder when they'll decide to introduce Colm. Ross Carr trying to put 4 points between the teams. He's done precisely that with his third point of the afternoon. Down leading by double scores. And the bookmakers all around the country who made them rank outsiders must be having the odd little touch of panic at this stage. Well, Bart Simpson is here in any case. Down fans and down players and mentors will be well aware that Meath have made the late recovery now into an art form.
I think here you'll see the referee is going to go back and talk to Brendan McKiernan, because since he got the last tackle, heavy tackle on him, he seems to be taking it out on Bernard Flynn. It was quite noticeable there, for that down ball walked up the field, that they're using the ball much better out of their defence. Eamon Burns is coming back and bringing the ball forward, and a good ball into their forward, a good low ball gives the forwards a good advantage.
So many of these scores so far, the 12 points have come from frees, down with 2 points from play, Meath with 1 point from play. McEntee Once again, winning possession and winning the free kick. Stopped by Paddy O'Rourke, doing a good job on Colm Coyle. Coyle commits the foul. Play fractured repeatedly. A minute into injury time. Greg Blaney. Up for Peter Whitnell, looking for his first score of the day. Fumbles, however, and McLyons comes in with the chance to make the challenge. Still Whitnell. And to burst his way through, stopped by Terry Ferguson. His father, Snitchy, of course, who played with Dublin, but was actually born in County Down. That's another free in for Down. The foul by Jerry McEntee. So Ross Carr, who's looked very positive and assured in his shooting so far. McLyons limping as a result of a challenge just a moment ago, and of course he was in the wars with injury earlier in the match. Back to Mard to mind the goal mouth. So nearly 2 minutes of injury time played, and Ross Carr has the chance to put 5 points between the teams. Would that be the moment when Meath, on the bench at least, would begin to panic? It dropped short and it's dropped wide. Very near to half-time. Indeed, the referee signals to Mickey McQuillan that that's it for the opening 35, indeed 37 minutes. It was anything but a flowing game of football in the opening half. Meath took the early lead as expected, but Down have come back and made a fine recovery. And who would have expected that at half-time Down would lead by 4 points? Half-time score, Down 8 points, Meath 4. We're looking for a lot better and a good deal more excitement in the second half. That'll be right after the break.
From our father's time and far beyond, they were played on fields and stony hillsides. They bring memories that we hold forever fond. It's the spirit of the Gael that's in our games. It's the spirit of the Gael that's in our games. Be it north, south, east or west, Gaelic games are far the best. It's the spirit of the Gael that's in our games. Sam Maguire is the name of fame in football. Lee McCarthy is the hurler's favourite son. When Croke calls in September, then it's time for All Ireland's to be won.
Yes, the Fury Brothers there, a song written by our own Brendan O'Reilly, just occurred to me, Finbar Fury. A small bit of work to do to be fit for next year's final.
It's the spirit of the Gael that's in our game. It's the spirit of the Gael that's in our game. Be it north, south, east or west, Gaelic games are far the best. It's the spirit of the Gael that's in our game. They were born on...
When work feels like a
back out for the second half.
For dinner in the...
He'll be back out for the second half. He's still marking Peter Whitnell as Seamus Pryor prepares to restart. Wanting the half-forwards and half-backs inside the 45-metre line. So the second half gets underway. Barry Breen trying to give the forward line the kind of possession which they can turn into scores. Peter Whitnell. Now to the very dangerous James McCartan. Tackled by Mick Lyons, and the referee says back you go. That's a free in for down. Well, Jack, at half-time we were speculating that Mick Lyons might not be out for the second half.
Yes, Johnny, he limped very heavily into the dressing room at half-time, and it's good to see Mick back out because he'd been playing quite well up to that. He held Peter Whitnell quite well, and I see that Kevin Foley has now switched back on James McCartan, and Brendan Riley is brought out in the half-hour line to mark Gary Mason.
It's Ross Carr, having missed, I think, just one free in the first half, having kicked 3. And he's missed another. Well, it won't have done his confidence much good. So it remains down 8 points. Meath 4. Good kick out by Mickey McQuillan towards Jerry McEntee, having a very fine match indeed. Up towards PJ Gillick, who started once again at right corner forward. Liam Hay prods it inside towards Bernard Flynn. David Beggy calling for it on his left-hand side, but Flynn has the confidence and composure to kick and strike over the first point of the second half and cut back the deficit now to just 3 points. That's 2 points now for Bernard Flynn. The sides were level on 3 occasions in the first half, and then down edged in front before half-time. That's Tommy Dowd with the fetch there against John Kelly. And David Beggy, I think, absolutely furious with John Kelly for the persistent fouling as he saw it there on Tommy Dowd. And it's very rarely that you see David Beggy get in trouble with the referee, but I think a little bit of frustration and annoyance just crept into his composure that time.
Here we see Tommy Dowd with the ball underground, and John Kelly seemed to win. David Beggy furious there, and here I think we're going to have David Beggy booked for a trivial thing, and Kelly is booked as well. And you know, you see some incidents getting away in the first half, very high tackles, and you see what logic is in this. But I think the referee has to stamp his authority in this game, and for us to have a very good second half. It's quite noticeable there, the 2 balls that came into midfield in the second half, the Meath have won them both, and you might see this might be the start of their known comeback that we've seen all the year.
Hayes fires it inside and it's back out by Conor Deegan. First time back out into the middle. Martin O'Connell down to Greg Blaney. Down motoring well. Barry Breen now, a quick look up on the left boot. Coming down from the clouds towards Peter Whitnell and Mickey Linden. Linden gets there first. There's plenty of support play. Ross Carr there, Barry Breen there as well, and James McCartan. Little chip shot by McCartan, and it's up and it's over the bar. His second point of the day. But he's proving a real handful for anybody who's had to mark him so far. I think he scored 2 points in last year's league final as well. And then it was Kevin Foley who had the task of subduing him on that occasion.
Yeah, we were saying earlier on in the first half how influential Greg Blaney could be, but he won that ball in midfield and brought it forward. Here we see James McCartan getting the ball, taking on the Meath defence, and I've seen it all, Joe, when I've seen James McCartan kicking the point with his left foot.
Breen. Now DJ Kane. His older brother Val Kane, of course, was part of the down set-up in the 60s. James McCartan again, and it's Eamon Burns on to Ross Carr. A quick look up once more, half blocked down by Martin O'Connell, it seems. Runs on, however. And the support here for the backs comes from David Beggy. John Kelly fumbling. Beggy going in, making the challenge. Paddy O'Rourke here. Jerry McEntee secure in his holding. Hayes now. That'll give Brian Stafford quite a bit of work to do to try and keep that one in play.
Meath are looking a very frustrated team at the moment. They seem to be looking for inspiration, and I'm sure it mightn't be too long if Colm O'Rourke is fit to come on. They will see him warming up the sideline.
Whitnell touched it down. It comes to Liam Harnan, and now Colm Coyle. Bernard Flynn has moved in towards the centre of the attack, and it's Brian Stafford who's begun to roam a bit. Now John Kelly down, keeping their balance and composure in defence, and a good man-to-man mark-up. All this while Peter Whitnell is down injured. James McCartan again coming across over this right-hand side. Ross Carr kicking with the left, and it's gone in. It's a silver point by Ross Carr. Never bent either right or left, was absolutely dead straight, and how about that, a 5-point difference. Down for the second time in the game, leading by double scores, and across on the far side, Colm O'Rourke is getting ready. Whitnell in need of attention from Dr. John Gribben, but that's a sight which will delight me on the one hand, but on the other hand they realised that they were only going to be bringing him in if there was a real need to do so. Whitnell is fit to take up his place. Meath in trouble once more, as they've been on a few times in this championship. But teams like Dublin and Wicklow and Roscommon, remember that you have to put away a high percentage of your chances if you hope to beat this Meath team. But right now they're in trouble, behind by 5 points. Blaney taking the free to James McCartan. An exciting player in full flight. Flynn trying to go back and put in a challenge. It's with Mickey Linden. Linden yet to score in this game. Now's his chance. He's put it over. There's a big sign outside a pub which is owned by Mickey Linden's mother and aunties, which says, "Mickey, bring back the Sam Maguire." They're doing the business so far, and Colm O'Rourke is coming in as we watch the reprieve.
Very good score for down here. Again, it's Greg Brennan. They won the ball out the field further, who got it through to James McCartan, gave the ball out here to Mickey Linden, and here he shows tremendous pace to get around the two defenders, and that kicks a great point with his left foot. As I say, down are buzzing at the moment, and I see Colm O'Rourke again, so Meath have the inspiration on the field now if they can lift it.
Colm Coyle is the one who's gone. Colm O'Rourke is in. He's taking up station at top of the right, his selected position. PJ Gillick will now operate, I'm sure, in and around the 40. Marking Paddy O'Rourke, fouling Paddy O'Rourke. So Meath have had to bring in Colm O'Rourke 8 minutes into the second half. They started the half well, kicked the first point, but now Down have come back and have kicked 3 points of their own. Paul Higgins from Ballymartin. Towards James McCartan. Runs on towards Whitnell. Brendan Riley tries to get back goal side. Comes back again to James McCartan. Challenged by Brendan Riley and Kevin Foley. Fed inside to Greg Blaney. Mickey Linden has got the opportunity, and Barry Breen has got a goal! The midfielder has come deep, and the Down fans in Croke Park absolutely erupting into a cauldron of noise. It's a sea of red and black. Hill 16 raising the decibel level. Nearly 9 minutes gone in the second half, Jack.
Yeah, we were saying before the game how confident and cocky these Down players are. Peter Whitnell winning the ball, giving it to James McCartan again, who's causing an awful lot of problems. But here we see Greg Blaney again, the experience showing up, gives a great ball to Mickey Linden, unselfishly gives the ball across the square, and there you have Barry Breen knock it in. A great goal for Down, and now it's going to take an exceptional effort for Meath to come back and win this match if they can.
He was just on the edge of the small square when that ball was coming across to him. The positioning is interesting.
Yes, I see Mickey Linden here, give the ball across, yes, just outside the square. I thought he jumped in and the ball went flight.
He certainly jumped inside, whatever about starting outside. Shades of a goal there. I seem to recall something similar happening in the '86 final. A ball's gone wide. And Sean Boylan now having a mountain of a task. Eamon Burns for a downside, seeking to bring back the Sam Maguire for the first time in 23 years. Winners in 60, 61 and 68. They've never lost a final. Now Colm O'Rourke. Well, he looks fit the way he's able to hand out those shoulders. David Beggy couldn't hold on to it. PJ Kane trying to lift the siege for down. Paul Higgins. This is a great spell in the game, which certainly the Down fans are enjoying enormously. There were so many Down people outside Croke Park today. We were speculating earlier that they couldn't all have tickets. But wherever they're watching it, they're certainly enjoying it, I'm sure. And they've got themselves a free kick.
Nothing is going right for Meath at the moment, but I think it's quite clear throughout the game the pressure that the Down players are putting the Meath players on when they're in possession. All the Down players are in there, they're trying to block down, they're harassing, they're tackling, and they're not giving the Meath team any chance to set up any attacks or get the ball properly into their full foul line. Great display throughout the Down team of tenacious tackling.
They've got to hold their nerve and maintain their resolve if they're to lift the Sam Maguire, however. And that's Ross Carter. He kicks over his 5th point. Highly invaluable scores. So, are Meath to go under in the All-Ireland final for the 2nd year in succession? In this, their 10th match in the campaign, it would be a very hard way to lose an All-Ireland final. Colm O'Rourke against Paul Higgins, and he's been pushed, and it's going to be a free in. So a chance then for Brian Stafford to start pegging back the leeway. There's still plenty of time. We're only 12 minutes into the second half. What an intriguing final it's turning out to be. 2 points his tally so far. The jeers of the Down fans ringing in his ears, and he's got one back. It was a long, long way to go for Meath. In the past, they were able to bring in Jerry McEntee at about this stage, and he would always lift them with a little piece of inspiration. Kevin Foley. Well, I think if Meath go on to win this final, everybody will have to admit there's some team. But they're up against a marvellous competitive team from Down, who, as Jack O'Shea was saying earlier, a battling gamely, closing down any opportunities whenever possible. That's Hayes, however, firing one in. Meath certainly looking a little bit rattled at the moment. It's Ross Carr, beavering on his own half-back line, finding Barry Breen, the goal scorer. Pursued all the way by Brian Stafford, but setting up another attack here as Mickey Linden goes across there with Terry Ferguson. Whitnell is waiting inside. James McCartan again winding himself up for the kick. This is the time to produce the skills that he certainly possesses. His 3rd point. It's been a memorable afternoon for young McCartan, only 20 years of age. So 10 points between the teams. Who would have believed it? This to Down. Peter Whitnell. Again, Barry Breen bursting through the centre. On to Eamon Burns, his midfield partner. On to Peter Whitnell, on to Mickey Linden. There's another goal chance here. It's blocked down by a combination of Meath backs. Comes out somehow. Out to Greg Blaney. 20 metres out. Fires it in. Blaney's first point, but he's been involved in so many of their good attacks. Very much the catalyst, setting up so many chances, and now an 11-point difference. Well, they're delighted over there. Smiles on the Down mentors and subs. McEntee. It looks like Alan Brown from Walterstown who's warming up. It's Liam Hayes. Meath needing a couple of scores badly. Down, trying to keep them out. Colm O'Rourke. On a tight angle, he raises the white flag. So since his introduction, that's his first score. He's only been on the field for about the last 5 minutes. Well, Jack, at this stage, it's looking desperate for Meath.
Yes, you can't see Meath coming back from here, and if they do, Jerry, as you said earlier on, they'll be an exceptional team to do so. But they're trying, they're full of spirit, and you won't see Meath give up, and they'll fight to the very end.
Dowd has got an opening. Man of the match in the semi-final. Paddy O'Rourke racing back to try and close down his space. It's coming to David Beggy. Did he need a goal? He's got a point. What a great blinding run that time by Tommy Dowd, and great support play by David Beggy. Might have had the goal, but it has to be content with a point.
This is a very important point of the game from Down's point of view, because in the past we've seen Dublin in front of Meath, well, it looked like winning the match, and Meath kept pegging away. So it's very important from the Down point of view that they keep going right to the very end as well.
Their self-belief is going to be really critical here. Jerry McEntee. Colm O'Rourke has got an opening. They're firing well right now, Meath. Another scoring chance. Outside it comes to Bernard Flynn. Oh, it's stopped at point blank range by Neil Collins, the goalkeeper. That's a brilliant save, and it's going to be a free out. Best save of the match so far. A brilliant piece of goalkeeping by Neil Collins. Well, it's a local taxi man in Newry called Tommy McGivern who's credited with discovering him. One day, Down did not have a goalkeeper. He said, I'll find you a goalkeeper. They were playing Monaghan, and this was the fella who stopped this brilliant pile driver from Bernard Flynn at point blank range.
Here we see Colm O'Rourke going through, trying his heart out since he came in, gives a great ball across to Bernard Flynn. Bernard does everything right here, shakes off DJ Kane, and great save by the goalkeeper, and well picked up by Brendan McKiernan for a free out for Down.
All this while, Meath have brought in a sub. There's Liam Austin getting ready on the far side, but Alan Brown has come in, and it's Mick Lyons who's been forced out. Obviously the injury had been hampering him some considerable way. Martin O'Connell has gone in full back. To Mick Lyons' credit, he did not give Peter Whitnell a score. In fact, in his 4 All-Ireland finals so far, he's only conceded 2 points to his man. But right now the pressure is coming from Meath again, and it's Colm O'Rourke who sees that one flashing right across the face of the goal.
Now we see Liam Hayes taking the free here, and what an impact Colm has made since he's come in. And I felt this is what Meath were missing in the first half. Their style of play was different. They were trying to approach goal different, and Colm was very unlucky here to screw that shot wide.
Alan Brown here preparing to take the sideline ball, the Meath substitute. But the linesman has decided it's going to be otherwise. Meanwhile, Pete McGrath prepares Liam Austin. Very poor sideline ball by John Kelly. Really annoyed with himself, wasting possession. And now Down are going to get a major boost with the arrival of Liam Austin on the scene, coming in for his 35th championship match, having made his debut at Caseman Park back against Antrim in 1976. And he watches as there's a point, and it's Brian Stafford who kicks it over. His 4th point of the game. So bit by bit, Meath clawing their way back into the match. Barry Breen, the goal scorer, is the one who's made his way off, and Liam Austin is in. It's touchdown again to David Beggy. A real business-like approach now from Meath, frantically pouring everything they have into attack. Trying to break loose, but Down harrying, trying to force them into errors, but Meath still with possession. Kevin Foley across here to Tommy Dowd. John Kelly came in there to try and block that one down, may have upset the composure of Tommy Dowd, and he kicked it hopelessly wide. There's a quarter of an hour remaining.
There again, in that passage of play, we saw how well all the down players are putting the Meath players into possession. David Beggy beating one down defender, found another defender in front of him again. So this down team have been well prepared. They're working very, very hard for each other, and it looks very good for them at this point in time.
They lead by 8 points. It's fisted down by Jerry McEntee again. DJ Kane racing across, and Kevin Foley, the one who just got there first, I think, in that race for possession. Sean Boylan across there, near the linesman, calling out the instructions. Hayes and Austin competing. Brown to David Beggy, takes it well. Another good run by David Beggy, setting up Colm O'Rourke. Bernard Flynn, the one who takes the pass. Absolutely straight and absolutely over. 3 points is Bernard Flynn's contribution. Now 7 points the difference. Now it's the turn of the Meath fans up at the canal end to roar out their encouragement for their team. And likewise down here on Hill 16. What a dramatic finale we could have yet. Austin tried to prod it away from the Meath men in midfield. Midfield at the moment more congested than O'Connell Street on a Saturday night, but it's with Eamon Burns. Blaney. Burns once again. The midfielders who like to go forward, and he's got a point, a very important point. Just as Meath had begun to impose their will on the game. Down were standing back a little bit, but Burns has come forward to kick open an 8 points difference again.
Yeah, again, this is very good play by Down. Again, we see Greg Blaney involved, the experienced player here, drawing the Meath defence in together, laying the ball out to Eamon Burns, and that's the second great point he's kicked coming forward today. Just noticeable up to that score that Meath had been winning in all the possession around the middle of the field, and seemingly like signs on they've got the last couple of scores on the scoreboard. So it's up to Down now to push home their advantage from here on in.
Ross Carr coming back to his own 65-metre line to kick this one in towards Peter Whitnell, now against a new full-back in Martin O'Connell. Liam Harlan. And it's going to be a free to Down, which Martin O'Connell is very anxious to take quickly. For Meath, I should say. Stafford touches it down, but only as far as the waiting Liam Austin of Down. In towards Whitnell once more. Fine catch by Peter Whitnell. 2 goals and a point, his tally in the semi-final. Nothing so far today. Having to live on crumbs virtually as Brendan Riley takes it out. And he floors James McCartan in the process. Free is awarded, however. Tommy Dowd. He's got support inside if he can just get loose here. Brendan McKernan sticking to his man like a leech over. It's into Hayes. There's a goal chance for Meath here. He buries it. The second goal in the match. This time for Meath. Will that resurrect their hopes of yet winning the Sam Maguire Cup? Because now there are just 5 points between the teams.
This is a great Meath goal. Here we saw a great ball on the defence, a quick free by Brendan Riley. Tommy Dowd picked the ball up, shook up, got his free kick, took it quickly into Liam Hayes. And what an inspirational goal from Liam Hayes, the captain of the team. Here he takes his ball well, puts the goalkeeper the wrong way and puts the ball to the corner. Great goal for Meath, and maybe this is the thing they need to bring them back into the game.
Matty McCabe has come in, PJ Gillick is gone. A change by the Meath selectors. It's fisted on to Mickey Linden. There can be a rapid reply here. Oh, he's put it wide. If Meath go on to win this match, that may be seen as the turning point in the game. A dreadful experience for Mickey Linden, but he's got to recover his composure quickly now.
Dreadful miss by Mickey Linden. Here he tried to make too sure, I thought. It wasn't the usual Mickey Linden head down, but screwed the ball wide.
It's a let-off, and Meath know it. Now how will Down respond? They've seen their big lead cut back to just 5 points. Against most teams that would seem to be quite sufficient, but Meath there's something else again. Beggy. Free kick quickly taken. Fine catch back there by Paddy O'Rourke. The team captain wins another free. Down's 27th free kick. Meath have had 25 of their own. Ten minutes to go. It's tense. Kane firing it forward towards James McCartan. Can he be a match winner yet? Eamon Burns having a little bit of work to do. Taking the shoulder from Matty McCabe quite comfortably. Now Liam Austin. Outside to McCartan, who's hung loose for quite a bit of this game, expecting the ball to come out to him. Now Whitnell. Kicking under some pressure. Mickey Linden and Terry Ferguson competing. Touchdown. Liam Austin trying to drive forward. Trying to turn possession here into a score for Down. Whitnell, again McCartan's outside. Likewise Gary Mason, again under some considerable pressure. He kicks it and he scores. Gary Mason has kicked 4 points in this game, making amends somewhat, I think, for the miss by Mickey Linden a few minutes ago. 2 goals between the teams. Under 9 minutes to go. McQuillan. Austin trying to get onto it. John Kelly gets there first for Down. Picked off the ground, however. A Down team that's been splendidly prepared by Pete McGrath, Barney Traynor and John Murphy, of course, as well, his selectors. A job nobody wanted in Down, they said, but he's done it splendidly. Now can he engineer an All-Ireland victory? It's going to be possession for Meath. Colm O'Rourke knocking it inside to Bernard Flynn. Time ebbing away. Collins. It's gone over the bar. A good point by Bernard Flynn. So that's the position. And on my watch, just 8 minutes to go.
I think again today Meath are showing their character the way they've come back. Things look very bad for them just after half time. But what a team, you know, to keep, never say die. They're lifting themselves, they're throwing their body in where they wouldn't put their legs, and they're still not out of this game.
So the pile up in midfield as Liam Austin just tries to get by Jerry McEntee. He wins the free for Down. What a great campaigner he's been down the years, Liam Austin. He and Ambrose Rogers, so much part of Down teams, championship after championship. So Ross Carr coming from that little carpeted area in midfield towards James McCartan. Out from Riley as far as Greg Blaney. An important kick, but he's put it wide. So Down continue to lead by 5 points. Real edge of the seat stuff. Meath sideline ball, kicked in rapidly towards Bernard Flynn. Once again going for a point, but not with his customary accuracy. This is Meath's 13th final appearance, and they're just beginning to wonder whether it's lucky or unlucky 13. Fetched from the air by Ross Carr. Touchdown by James McCartan, but Brendan Riley is there. Driving Meath into the attack again, collected with difficulty by Paddy O'Rourke. Eamon Burns coming to his rescue. Nice leisurely pace at all times, always seems to have time on his hands. Kicked forward by the fullback Conor Deegan. Up towards James McCartan. Down now, finishing well. With 6 minutes remaining, it's still James McCartan, Mickey Linden rather, across to Peter Whitnell. Whitnell's kick has been stopped on the line, and it's eventually booted out of trouble by Alan Brown. Liam Austin getting up onto it. Alan Brown driving it down towards Brian Stafford, gathered by Colm O'Rourke. Matty McCabe is free wide on the left-hand side all this while, but he hits it inside instead to Bernard Flynn. Flynn trying to dodge round defenders. an assured kick, and he's put it over. That's 5 points now in all for Bernard Flynn, 4 points for Brian Stafford, and on the downside Ross Carr with 5 points and Gary Mason with 4. So it looks like we're in for a nerve-tingling last 5 minutes. 4 points between the teams, where once there was a very wide gap. Blaney belted forward to James McCartan. A much better second half. Blaney again, trying to run through the centre of the Meath defence, stopped. Gary Mason trying to link up with Liam Austin. John Kelly now having pressed forward from a right half-back position, wanted to get in on the scoring act himself and ensure down victory, but not on this particular attack. And Ambrose Rogers is being introduced by Down, and that will be a very popular substitution. He came in towards the end of the semi-final game, then he replaced Peter Whitnell, and it's déjà vu as Peter Whitnell makes his way off and Ambrose Rogers comes in to try and make an impression. DJ Kane. Down have 4 minutes to go to hang on to their lead, to bring back the Sam Maguire Cup. John Kelly in towards Ambrose Rogers, the first chance to shine since coming in. James McCartan going back there with Kevin Foley. Still McCartan kicking this time with the right boot, and it screws away left to the post and wide.
Those are some very valuable scores that Down have missed in the last few minutes. Instead of running out easy winners in this game, they're still going to find themselves under pressure right up to the end. Whereas on the other hand, Meath have got a few chances and then they knocked the ball over the bar.
So is it to be the last couple of minutes of this year's championship season? And what a marvellous championship season it's been. DJ Kane hits a poor ball. It's gone for a Meath sideline ball, and Alan Brown ready to take it. Only 3 minutes to go. 4 points between the teams. Down the leaders, and it's Meath breaking through, and that's gone in. And it's gone over the bar off the boot of Bernard Flynn. Deadly dangerous from such a situation, set up by Tommy Dowd. Finished in style. Well, they were looking for a goal. He really buried that one in that time as Dowd set it all up.
Yeah, this is again where we see the difference between the two teams. Meath getting half the chance now in the second half, and they're taking their scores very well. Very good score there by Bernard Flynn. We're still in this game. There's still a couple of minutes left. What a game.
So we were wondering in the last few days that if Meath were down even by a goal or two with a couple of minutes to go, you might still put your money on them. Well, it's such a situation. They're behind by a goal and there are 2 minutes remaining. Pressing forward, DJ Kane belting it out, anywhere will do, but it reaches Tommy Dowd. Tommy Dowd for Meath, bursting forward. Stafford calling from it, but that wasn't the ball he wanted. It's gone instead to Ross Carr. Quick look up by Ross Carr. He'll carry it forward himself to try and waste up a couple of valuable seconds, trying to link up with Ambrose Rogers. Meath have possession. They have the free. Harnan the taker. Down suddenly static. Beggy looking for the goal that would level it up. Stopped. The referee says unfairly by DJ Kane it's going to be a free in, and Brian Stafford can put this one over. They've depended an awful lot on Bernard Flynn so far in this second half, Meath, but now it's Brian Stafford to convert possession into a score. Straight over. He's on 5 points for the afternoon. 1:16 now to 1:14. A minute remaining, but the referee, as he did in the first half, may opt to add on a couple of seconds. Ross Carr is down receiving attention across on the far side. Nail-biting minutes now, in particular if you're a Down fan. You've seen your side come here, rank outsiders, but they've put up a terrific display. But credit Meath in their 10th match, a battling performance, making Down fight all the way for their prize if indeed they are to win the cup. It's Kevin Foley. Can he get another goal like the goal he got in July? Well, they weren't back the requisite distance, and it'll mean a free retake it. Brendan Riley anxious to gain a few yards. Everybody's in for this one. Towards Colm O'Rourke, fisted out by Conor Deegan, out to DJ Kane, and down lift the siege in injury time. Now it's at the discretion of the referee. Meath with a player down injured. Under pressure. Alan Brown responding well. Mickey Linden trying to belt that ball forward. Brown once again to Terry Ferguson. They tried to engineer a score from somewhere to try and reclaim the prize that they last held in 1988. O'Rourke. And it's all over, and Down have won the All-Ireland. Down maintain a magnificent record. They've never lost an All-Ireland final, and the fans on Hill 16 are enjoying it enormously at the end of a terrific Down performance. They knew they could win. They had self-belief. They got a goal in the 9th minute of the second half by Barry Breen. Ross Carr kicked 5 points for them. Gary Mason got 4, and James McCartan was constantly tormenting a tired and beleaguered Meath defence. Meath, at the end of a long campaign, lose the All-Ireland in their 10th match. It's never happened before, but then Down have never lost an All-Ireland final. 1960, 61, 1968 when Joe Lennon was the team captain, and now 1991, the Sam Maguire Cup goes back to the north, to Ulster, to the Ulster champions from Down, who win a magnificent final in the end by just 2 points. What a terrific second half it turned out to be. Down the masters, Down enjoying it, and there's Paul Higgins, who played his part. Expected he would be marking Colm O'Rourke earlier in the game, and indeed he got that wish partway through the second half. But overall it was a great team performance, Jack.
Yeah, a great team performance. I think on the day Meath will have no complaints. I think if had Colm O'Rourke been in from the start, we would have seen a much different Meath performance. But today I think was Down's day. As I said earlier, they were the most tenacious team. They were putting in the tackle, they were harassing and putting the Meath players under pressure, and never gave Meath the chance to come forward and set up the scores which they wanted. But Meath in the second half showed us great, and showed us the great team that they are, that they never lied down. They were 10 or 11 points down early on in the second half, and they fought back and looked like they could even pull off a dramatic draw or even a dramatic win at the very end. But a very enjoyable game, Joe. At times I suppose there was a few high tackles that didn't get punished maybe, but otherwise it was a very, very good game, very sporting game, a great occasion and a very, very colourful occasion.
In the end, it was 116 for Down, 114 for Meath. The final score at the end of a dramatic All-Ireland final.
Facing August a Gael Golair, her can come in low class Gael, for an Falsherov, Hickley Hickanish no Hearn, on Oak College is Tawakti, a Kersey Sport in Aaron. Going Buenos, Lagoptina, a big Parchuk in Nimothy on Lanu. Na California, Offigi, na Kundiha, Augusta Raktori, Augusto Hariha, Livsha, Ardakahori. After the most momentous championship in the history of our association, Down have come through with no fuss and are today kings of Gaelic football. They deserve their success, but let us recognise that Meath have set records which may never be equal, and that together with Dublin, they raise the profile of our game to an unprecedented level. I thank them for their contribution to our games in 1991, and I sympathise with them on falling at the last hurdle in a competition which their efforts suggested they were almost entitled to win. On behalf of all, I thank Meath, but today belongs to Down. In a tense, exciting game, they came through. I congratulate them on their victory. A Carja, to Agnew Ogden, our captain of Fornia Shops, their father-in-law. Anish, is Kirsch Ahas, August Kirsten Oradon, Horn Sam Maguire of Runnegar, our captain O'Goon, Paddy O'Goon.
It's a wonderful the Sam Maguire Cup. Down have won the championship. A moment that Down fans, I think, will remember for a long, long time. What a year it turned out for them.
Aircron na hern, Aishi, Aircron come Lucas Gale, a Mincher, and Abu. This is the proudest moment of my life. It really is a dream come true. There's a lot of people that I have to thank here today on behalf of the players, but there's one man that stands out head and shoulders above them all. 2 years ago, our county board spent the whole summer looking for someone to manage the county team. There's only one man stood up and said, "I'll do it," and that man was the great Pete McGrath. On behalf of all the players in the panel, I would like to thank you, Pete, you and your selectors and your backup team for giving us today our All-Ireland medal. Thank you. I would also like to thank our county board who done such great work this year. But again, there's one man in my mind who stands out above all on that board. He came in a year ago and he's got everybody in this county behind the team. That man is our chairman, Danny Murphy. There's another very special man in our setup that I couldn't let this occasion pass without thanking. He's been involved with county teams through all the good and bad years, right back from the early 60s. He has looked after us all like a father. Dr. Martin Woods, on behalf of the players, we thank you. I would like to thank all our supporters here today, those at home watching in on the telly who couldn't get tickets. Thank you very much. Thanks to our official supporters club for the great work they have done for us coming into this final. Thank you very much. At a time like this, there's a lot of people that I should thank for helping me get my career to this level. But if I started to thank them all here today, would be here all evening. But there's one man who really comes back into my heart at a time like this. He was a club man of mine. He done great work for us as schoolboys, took us all over down to underage matches. He gave me an awful interest in Gaelic football. He was way before the biggest influence of my career. I'm sorry to say that he is no longer with us. That man was Sean Murdoch. I would also like to thank the Meath team for the great game that they give us today. It really was a great game. Liam Hayes said in the paper last Sunday, if teams could be friends, down in Meath would be friends. Well, I say back to you, Liam, we'll be friends for the next few days. I hope you should be friends with us. 3 cheers for me. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. I would just like to finish off now on a lighter note. I'd like to say hello to my 3 greatest fans who's at home watching in on the telly. They're my 3 kids. Hello, Orla, Ciara and Pearl. Thank you.
So Paddy O'Rourke takes the cup. A fine acceptance speech thanking all and sundry, and the fans now stream in from Hill 16 to be part of this celebration scene as well. It's been a magnificent day for Down, for Ulster football. Sad for Meath, such a long journey ends in failure, but triumph for Down.
Yes, there will be some celebrations across the border, you can be sure. both tonight and tomorrow when Sam goes north for the first time since '68. But as Gerard said, in as far as we congratulate Down, you also have to say, well, commiserations to Meath. Just as Dublin found it hard to believe that after 4 championship matches they were left with nothing, Meath now too find after 10 championship matches they didn't get that All-Ireland in the end. That's football, that's the way it goes. We'll talk more about this All-Ireland final after the commercial break. Stay with us. Again to Croke Park. Well, there's the scene down on the pitch. There's a little note here at the beginning of the programme today asking patrons to stay off the pitch. There was an announcement made on 2 or 3 occasions during the afternoon here asking them to stay off the pitch. Do you think they could keep this Down team off the pitch and these Down supporters after what's been, well, it's such a fabulous day for them? And of course, let's not forget, look at they're all on the pitch. Let's not forget that they keep that unbeaten record in All-Ireland finals intact. 60, 61, 68 and now in 1991. Well, it's a victory that was appreciated not only in counties all across the north, I suppose all over the country really, and also by our 2 panellists here, Jimmy Barry Murphy and also by Brian McInniff. Jimmy Barry, your final thoughts on the match?
Well, I must say I thought it was a fantastic performance by Down. They took the game by the scruff of the neck in the first half, got the scores, got the lead they needed, and in the second half they produced some fantastic passing movements, and they got the cushion I think that they needed, because in fairness to me, you can't put them away. They came back, it would have been an unbelievable comeback. I think they were 11 points down at one stage, and you know, they could have stolen it in the end. It was very, very close in the end, and only for a very good save by Neil Collins earlier than they got the goal. It could have been a whole different ball game. In fairness, I mean, Meath have a great heart. They've never give up and they've fought to the end. You have to give them full credit for that. It's a long road. They didn't win it, but I think they deserve great credit for the way they played today.
Well, Jimmy, Paddy O'Rourke is probably thinking it's a long road down there in the middle of that crowd as well. I'm sure he's hanging on tenaciously to Sam, because Sam could part company with him very, very quickly in the middle of that, and it mightn't be found for a week or 2. Brian, for me, the critical score on the match was Breen's goal in the second half. At that stage, Down were ahead, but it was the one that really killed me, despite all their fight in the end. Let's take a look at it again, and let's have your own thoughts on it. And perhaps even about the legality of it as well, Brian.
Whitnell wins the ball here. James feeds, I think it's Greg Blaney who feeds Mickey Linden on the run. No, I really couldn't say when I look at the second time that there's anything too illegal in it. It was a situation where I spoke at a half-time where if Down went at the Meath defence, really, that's really where they were going to score. And that was the first time they actually ran at them and they got the major score.
Well, coming up shortly, Brian, there'll be a replay of that, so we get another chance to have a look at it. But needless to say, that sent Croke Park into an eruption of red and black colour here. Let's take a look at it again from a different angle. What do you think about it, Jimmy?
Well, James McCartney, again, I thought for me he was outstanding today.
Yeah.
He took the ball on, took on the Meath defenders, took punishment, laid off the ball very well. Then Mickey Linden spots Barry Breen just loose on the other side of the square. He doesn't panic, holds the head, and no, he's standing quiet in the line. It was perfectly legitimate goal, I think, in fairness. And he didn't try to catch it. He almost basketball style knocked into the net. He did exactly the right thing. And as you said, that was the cushion that Down needed.
Greg Blaney also playing an important role, and a nice passing movement by the Down forward, setting that one up.
That's right. Very, very good movement, and that was the key to their performance today. They got some tremendous scores from play in the second half by their pace. I think their sheer pace really knocked Meath out of their side. They just couldn't handle James McCartney. He was a constant turn their side. He won the ball, turned their defenders inside out, and they just couldn't handle him. And to me, he was the difference between the 2 teams today.
Within a couple of minutes, Meath found themselves 11 points down. We said to ourselves, there's no way back for Meath. No matter how good they might be at the big comeback, they can't come back from this. Golly, they nearly did, and one very important score, of course, is Liam Hayes' goal. They needed that kind of inspiration, and they got it.
That's right, and prior to that there was some fantastic points by Bernard Flynn, who gave an unbelievable performance in the second half, and he's almost single-handedly helped to haul Meath back into the game. One of the greatest exhibitions of point taking I've seen in Croke Park for a long, long time. And as you say, the goal was so influential, important for Meath, that it gave them the break they needed to try and get back into the game, and they almost could have stole it. But Tommy Dowd's quick free, spots Liam Hayes running through the middle, and Hayes is very, very good at that.
Indeed.
And a brilliant finish, kept his head down and buried it into the corner of the net. But a great free by Tommy Dowd, who again played his heart out and epitomised the Meath spirit, I think.
Well, Brian Hayes, of course, is a specialist at gathering these kind of balls, tearing through the heart of a defence and planting into the back of the net.
He's known for that there, but actually, for Down had been caught up the pitch and the Down midfielder hadn't picked Hayes up on the run. But he's very good on the blind side of run. But fair play to Tommy Doyle, was an excellent quick take to free. And as you can see, he made no mistake when he got that opportunity.
Hayes had a little bit of practice as one of those in the semi-final against Roscommon. He missed on that occasion, so he wasn't going to miss this one. Brian, a question mark over the fact that Meath allowed themselves in a situation, if that's the correct way to put it, where they went 11 points down. I thought when they were behind by 4 or 5 points, they were being a little bit casual. Maybe they thought that it would come for them without really having to grab the game by the scruff of the neck.
Well, I felt that they should have been a wee bit apprehensive at half-time, and I mentioned it in this resume at half-time that I felt that they should have introduced Colin O'Rourke, and I felt that the arrival of Colin O'Rourke, he dragged them back along with Bernard Flynn into the game, and I felt if he'd been introduced maybe in the first couple of minutes of the second half, it would have helped Meath cause an awful lot more, because he is a leader up there's no doubt, and as soon as he arrived you could feel the entire Meath squad lift.
Well, Brian, I'm going to stop you there for a moment, because down by pitch side just right now we have a couple of the Meath players who've agreed to come and talk to us. We'll have that, Brian, sorry to interrupt you there, we're going to have that in a moment. Needless to say, there's a little bit of panic on both sides down there, because there's an awful lot of people, an awful lot of crush down there on the pitch. But surely, as Brian said, Jimmy, at half-time, Meath were aware that they were in trouble, because the big question mark going into the game was, would these down forwards perform the way they had done in the semi-final and at times earlier in the championship? And they left nobody in any doubt that they were.
I think the sheer pace of their forward line troubled Meath all the time. They couldn't get the grips right on Mickey Linden or James McCartan. And, they played very good ball into them, and Meath were struggling all the time to handle them. And I think, as Brian said, it's amazing. Colin O'Rourke came on, and he looked as if he had never been off the field. It's hard to believe that he couldn't start the way he performed in the second half. He certainly helped turn the game around and put the Down defence under fierce pressure.
Well, Jimmy, there's the cup. It hasn't quite made its way to the dressing room just yet, but our cameras have. Let's go in there right now.
Well, certainly the dressing room is agog with excitement, and why not? All of what is it, 23 years since the All-Ireland title went north. And what Dublin, Wicklow, Roscommon, Offaly and Laois have failed to do, Down have succeeded, and these gentlemen are certainly delighted, and rightly so. Peter Whitnell, you're probably the only forward that didn't score this afternoon, but I'm sure you're not too pushed about it.
No, not really. I think my job was to lay a lot of balls off, sort of concede a lot of possession. I thought I'd done that very well. I had chances to score, they just didn't fall for me. Panicked that wee bit too soon, getting bad control of the ball. But I'm happy enough with my performance, and I'm happy for the team and everybody with it.
Certainly you were very relaxed before the match.
Yeah, I was. I had no nerves. I think the crowd sort of built the nerves up in me. You're not used to playing with a crowd like that there every day,
You did great, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Paul Higgins is next. Paul, certainly a great match and a marvellous achievement to stop Meath's gallop.
It was. When we got too far ahead, I thought, the Meath I knew they were going to come back, but when they did, I didn't think they would have come back as strong, and they kept coming back and kept coming back. And when the final whistle went, it just, a dream come true. Unbelievable.
It certainly was a marvellous performance by Down, an overall team performance, but your forwards in particular look very sharp.
Yeah, well, all year they've been playing very well, and they're not depending on one man to score anymore, and just the spirit of the team's unbelievable. We knew we couldn't get beaten, that's the way it was,
I'm sure you're not disappointed that you didn't score a point in the All-Ireland final like in the Ulster final.
I didn't care, as long as the forwards do it, I don't care.
Well done, Paul Higgins. Let me move on. Congratulations. Gary Mason, a great team performance.
Oh, it's great. The whole team fought hard from the word go, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Meath played to the final whistle, and it's up to everybody to put everything into the last minute.
I thought when you were so far ahead that you were going to walk it, but you have to give tremendous credit to Meath. They really fought back.
Well, that's what I say. You can't write Meath off to the last minute, and they came strong there halfway through the second half, and we took a lap for a while. But when Mickey Linden got a few scores on the board, everything came together at the final whistle.
Wild celebrations and Down for the rest of the week.
Oh, tell me, it was only start.
Okay, back to you, Michael.
So the Sam Maguire goes north, but where does this go? The Telecom Éireann Man of the Match Award. Well, you can find that out tonight on the Sunday game as we review the big match this afternoon. We have our own ideas here on the panel, and my thanks to Jimmy Barry Murphy and Brian McInniff for joining me. The Sunday game after 8 o'clock tonight. Hope you can join me for that. For the moment,